I saw that was.
Don't worry.
No.
Oh, thank you. Oh, wow. Whew. Nervous. This is my first time speaking. So yeah, my name is Benjamin Bryant, and today I'm doing a talk called "It's Not All Talk," and not because of anything about a lack of talks we're having, but about me. I'm a Go developer advocate at JetBrains. I'm an organizer at London Gophers, and I'm a former failed comedian. And so let's do a quick talk about talks. So I basically get a lot of questions about, should I do a talk, or what should I put into a talk, or how do I first get started? So I figured I'd put all of that into a talk so I don't have to keep answering those questions. So first one is, why should I do a talk? Well, it's just something to do, honestly. I don't have that large of a stake of whether or not you should or shouldn't do a talk. But if, say, for example, you wanted more practical reasons, one thing that it's very good for is soft skill practice. So I think growing up, or just in terms of tech, you don't really get the opportunity to practice talking to people much. And it's actually very crucial when you're working with people. And so that's why I think doing talks can help with that, because a lot of the time you essentially spend your time when you make a presentation breaking down something complicated and trying to explain it to a room of people who might not understand it. And we do that in so many different spaces throughout our jobs. Another thing is that it could be good for interview practice, because as an interviewee, you are presenting yourself as someone who is interested in getting a position. And if you happen to be interviewing someone else, you're presenting the company in a way that is enticing for the person. So there are many different parts in your life where having the ability to just talk or have good soft skills is very important. Another thing is you can pop it on your CV if you're into that kind of thing. I have these links to some talks I did in my CV, and if you're worried that there might be bias if someone clicks on the link and watches your video, I assure you nobody watches your videos on your CV, but they will be impressed with the idea that they could, and that's enough. And that's enough to get you through the door. So, second question is, I don't know what to talk about. Now, a general, answer that some people get is usually you can just say anything. And that's kind of a just be yourself answer, in the sense that it's completely useless. But I feel it because those type of questions, they kind of push the responsibility on the person. So I have something similar, and I just kind of go with steal from yourself. Because most of the time, any problem you face, any experience, any struggle, you can make a talk out of it. And if we look at previous talks that we've had in London Gophers, each person here is literally just talking about something that's happened in their life. And I can guarantee there's probably a situation when you've been in the pub or talking to a friend where you're explaining a problem you faced at work, and that could very easily make a talk. And so that's why I usually have that as some advice. The next one is, how do I put a talk together, and any tips for first-time speakers? I kind of mix these two because they kind of overlap a tiny bit. And so we'll just go through rapid fire points. The first one is stick to the point. If you're new to doing a talk, it can be kind of tempting to try and include everything, but it's good to ask yourself why you're doing the talk and what is the point of the talk, and make sure you're going through those points throughout. And for an example, if we go back here, a certain section of you might be asking, what does a tractor have to do with this? And that's enough to maybe throw off the direction of your talk. So just make sure as you're going through it, everything kind of makes sense. And now the tractor does. So the next thing I was going to say is keep it simple, which is kind of the same as stick to the point, but I sometimes see people put Wikipedia articles worth of content into their talks, and that's kind of distraction, because it means the people watching you, they are trying to read this, but also trying to listen to you, and it's you're kind of in a battle against yourself for attention. So it's much better if your slides complement what you're saying and don't detract from it. Next one is consider your audience. When you're trying to, put a talk together, usually if you apply to something, you kind of have an idea of who you're going to be talking to. And so it's good to pretend you're actually talking with them right now. And then you can sort of decide, that can like, I guess, determine how you're going to write it, whether it should be too complicated, whether it shouldn't be too complicated. But just having that in mind can help like improve the direction of what you're saying. And in the topic of audience, the audience wants you to succeed. Like, I kind of see it in the situation, it's like, I don't know, like the audience is more nervous, like they're more scared of me than I am of them, because I could do anything right now and make a lot of people feel awkward. And so, and so like when you have that kind of power, like, you know, everyone here is like, please just be a good talk. That's all we really want. Even if the slides are not great, we will clap anyway. And that's kind of like what you have to go into your mindset when you're doing this. Like it's scary, but it's not really. They're more afraid of you, it's fine. Other one is, if you're nervous about messing up, practice, practice, practice. Like just go over every so often, and if you practice a lot, it allows you to go off script and come back on script because you kind of know what's going to happen. Also, in speaking, you usually have the slides here, so you can like do a cheat look and so on and so forth, and that's fine. Like I am literally riffing, but I'm also going back to what I'm saying because I showed this to my mum a tiny bit just to make sure, just to get the approval, and like that was fine. And so another thing that kind of stops people is that they want to like, I would say like, don't worry about it being like the bestest thing ever, because like everyone wants like maybe like, this talk will be the thing that will like change the world. This talk will make her call back. Like it's not like, it's fine. Like, it's just something that you're just doing, and that's okay. Like I will go into a little story about my life. I once wrote a book. And in the process of like writing it, oh, by the way, that 5-star review is my mom. But, yeah, so I once wrote a book, and like when in the process of putting it together, I got to like chapter 3 or something like that. And I was talking to my friend, and I was like, I don't think I should do this. Like what if I make it and it's terrible? What if a lot of people read it and it's terrible? What if like nobody reads it? What if it's terrible? I kept thinking, what if it's terrible over and over again? I wanted to make like the best book ever. And then like my friend, like they did a deep sigh and they just said, dude, most books are trash. What's one more? But I feel what they meant to say was, do it for you. And so that's kind of like what I mean when you're doing this. Like your talk probably won't change the world, but like it's probably gonna change you, and that's kind of what you're aiming for, Like you're not, like maybe it might be the next big thing, but like there are so many talks, so many books, so many video games, so much content in the world, it probably won't, but you're the one that made it, you're the one that's putting your ideas out there, and that's why it matters, because it matters to you, Final thing, please share your talk with others and get feedback. The reason why I suggest this is because sometimes when you're in your own space, you put something together and you don't really know whether or not it's like good or bad, but like just having like someone else that you can show it to, like you get over that hurdle, and then you can show it to someone else and you get over that hurdle. Like with my book, I did actually show it to like different people, and it was kind of nerve-wracking because I was like, is it or whatever? But then like people read it and they're like, yeah, it's all right. And I was like, that's good enough to publish. And so, and so yeah, that's all, folks. You can follow me on Mastodon because I'm trying it out. I don't know, but yeah, JetBrains, that's me. London Gophers, out. Well, yeah, do you have any questions, I guess? Wait, I have to do the thing with my phone. Hang on, I have an idea. Okay, Bruno, can you stand here and pretend to be me? I need to record people with questions. Who has a question? You, all right. One sec, I'll get my phone going. Of course. All right. So what? Why don't you just use the microphone? Dude, what? Oh shit, dude. Oh, right, hang on. This is... fuck. All right, hang on. All right, cool. Can you use this mic? Yeah, because I'm recording this, so we're good. But I also need to... Oh my God, you're right. I actually just got it. You know what? I don't know, whatever.
First of all, thank you very much for your presentation.
Oh, don't worry, man. It's cool.
I wanted to ask about how do you feel like when you're presenting to the audience, how much do we interact with the audience like a two-way conversation while you are presenting to somebody?
I don't. I mean, I guess as an example, like it's kind of risky because I used to do stand-up comedy, and like a step when you do it is like to do audience interaction where you ask them a question, but you already have a joke prepared, and if they say something, you say the joke, and everyone's laughs, and it's really great. Sometimes it doesn't work, and it's terrible. And so what I try and do is like at least when you're starting, like you can reduce audience interaction if you're worried about it. Since it's like a techie type thing, no one's gonna be too rude, so you can always like ask a question or like say, you know, put your hand up. Does anyone want to say that kind of stuff? And that's fine. But like, if you're just starting out, I just, what? Oh, dude, bro, this is hard. All right. Oh my God. I can go with the phone. I'm loud, dude. All right. Does that answer your question?
So I have a follow-up question.
That's illegal.
So basically, so how do you engage the audience? For example, you know, I can't guarantee you like 100% of the audience is into the into your content, like almost the whole length of the duration or something, right?
Okay.
So you can't promise, right?
This might sound controversial.
Yeah, but like still, like at least 1 or 2% will be like, nah, man, yeah, I'm looking at it, right? So how can you make that like your presentation more engaging if you're not talking about like it's kind of controversial when it comes to talking to your audience?
Oh, I was going to say another thing. But, okay, to answer the very first question, when you're talking about what if 1 or 2% of your audience isn't interested, I would be like, why do you care? You already have 98%, that's a pretty good thing. And, but I guess if you want to be engaging, I guess just have a good pace, I suppose. And there's also like a writing technique where like you can write long sentences and then short sentences and then long sentences again, so it feels like there's rhythm. If people can guess what's going to happen next, they'll probably tune out. But if you can just surprise them with like, I don't know, like a quick cut and then another cut, and then you talk for a bit, and then it just really keeps it flowing, then you'll probably have more engagement.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, that answers my question. Thank you.
Cool. Does anyone have other questions? Oh.
You go there, and we'll just go.
Oh, you're doing my phone. All right.
Thanks for the talk. It was really well done, but I wanted to ask, what do you do when someone asks a question that you don't know the answer to?
Next question. But if you want like an actual answer, you have a microphone. Like right now, I could be like, I'm done with my questions. Thank you very much. And then you walk off the stage. And if someone like generally asks you a question that you don't know, it's actually kind of powerful for someone to say like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't fully understand that. Maybe we can talk afterwards. Like it shows people that you're interested. You might never talk to them afterwards and just walk off, but it shows people that you were willing, maybe.
You're a trickster.
I'd suggest the first thing for when people actually just don't ask a question and make a point.
Oh, what?
You know, when someone doesn't actually ask a question and just they're making a point.
Oh, so they're like being.
Next question.
Oh, right. Okay, fair enough.
No other questions? Use this. It's very interesting. No?
No, there's no questions. Fair enough.
Thank you very much.
Cool.